What if Robb Stark executed Jaime Lannister? After the Whispering Wood, Jaime is dragged before the Northern Lords in chains. Torrhaen and Eddard Karstark lie dead, along with dozens of men Jaime cut down trying to reach Robb. Catelyn argues that Jaime is worth more alive because Sansa and Arya are still in King's Landing. Rickard Karstark demands the same justice Ned Stark gave every condemned man in the north. Robb knows killing Jaime is terrible strategy, but he also sees the anger spreading through an army that has followed him south for vengeance. If the Kingslayer is spared because of his name, Northern justice becomes an empty promise. At dawn, Robb offers Jaime one chance to take the black. Jaime refuses to trade a lion's cloak for a crow's. Robb passes the sentence and swings ice himself. Jaime's head is sent to Tywin with a simple message: the North remembers every life taken. The Karstarks kneel to Robb before the blood has dried, and their cavalry remains completely loyal. But Catelyn watches the box leave camp knowing Robb has just killed the one man who might have brought her daughters home. Hello everyone, and welcome to Storyteller's Codex. Here we delve deep into the rich lore of the Lord of the Rings, a song of ice and fire, and the vast worlds beyond. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. The news reaches King's Landing too late to change Ned Stark's fate. Joffrey still orders Ned's execution, and Cersei immediately demands Sansa's death in return for Jaime. Tywin stops her. Killing the only Stark hostage they can publicly control would satisfy Cersei for one night, and cost them their last bargaining piece. Jaime's death creates an even larger problem. Tyrion is now Tywin's only surviving son. Tywin still hates the idea of Tyrion inheriting Casterly Rock, but a dead Jaime cannot leave heirs, command armies, or continue the family name. He sends Tyrion to King's Landing as acting hand with broader authority than before, then privately tells him the truth. If House Lannister survives the war, Tyrion must produce its next generation. Tyrion understands that this is not love or acceptance. He has become valuable because every better option is buried. In the capital, he dismisses Janos Slynt, reorganises the City Watch, prepares the wildfire defence and negotiates the Tyrell alliance through Littlefinger. Cersei watches the brother she despises take Jaime's chambers, Jaime's political place, and eventually Jaime's inheritance. Her grief hardens into a single belief: Tyrion did not kill Jaime, but somehow he is profiting from the murder. Robb's war changes just as sharply. Catelyn has no prisoner to release, so she never betrays Robb's orders and never loses his trust. Rickard Karstark has received the justice he demanded, so he has no reason to murder the young Lannister captives. Robb never executes him, and thousands of Karstark riders remain in the field. With those men, Robb strikes deeper into the Westerlands, seizing supply wagons and forcing Stafford Lannister to keep troops around Lannisport instead of sending everything east. Yet Robb cannot escape every disaster. Theon still takes Winterfell, Ramsay still burns it, and the false deaths of Bran and Rickon still break Robb's judgment. Wounded and grieving, he marries Jane Westerling and loses Walder Frey's trust. Edmure's attack at the fords also allows Tywin to turn toward Blackwater, where Tyrion's defences and the Tyrell army save King's Landing. Robb now faces a united Lannister-Tyrell crown while his own kingdom is occupied. But unlike the original war, his army has not collapsed from within. When he announces that Edmure will marry Rosalind Frey and repair the alliance, Rickard Karstark promises to ride beside him all the way back to Winterfell. Walder Frey still accepts Edmure's marriage, and Rose Bolton still carries Tywin's secret promise of the North. They prepare a massacre at the Twins, but the plan was built for a weakened king arriving with too few loyal soldiers. This Robb brings the Karstark cavalry, keeps Grey Wind beside him, and sends northern scouts around both castles before the feast. One patrol intercepts wagons filled with crossbows hidden beneath sacks of grain. Another catches Frey men fastening iron bars across a postern gate. Rickard Karstark quietly surrounds the eastern castle, while the Great Jon enters the hall with armour beneath his wedding clothes. Before the musicians can loose a single bolt, Robb places his hand on his sword and asks Walder why armed men are sealing the doors. The hall freezes. Walder sacrifices Black Walder and several guards, claiming they planned revenge without his permission. Robb does not believe him, but he cannot fight every Frey inside their own fortress while the North waits. Edmure marries Rosalind, and Robb takes 2 Frey heirs as hostages before crossing. Rose Bolton, warned that the trap has failed, never enters the feast. He rides east and openly joins Tywin, turning a secret betrayal into a coming battlefield. After Blackwater, Tywin returns to the capital expecting to take control from Tyrion. Instead, Jaime's empty place follows him into every council meeting. Tyrion designed the defence that saved the dynasty, secured the Tyrell alliance, and is now the only Lannister son left. Tywin removes him as Hand, but publicly names him heir to Casterly Rock, hoping duty will keep him obedient. The announcement pushes Cersei closer to madness. When Joffrey dies at his wedding, she accuses Tyrion before the cup hits the floor. This time Tywin refuses to arrest him. He knows the Tyrells had access to the poison, Littlefinger has disappeared, and executing Tyrion would leave Tommen surrounded by Tyrells with no adult Lannister heir. Tywin confines Cersei to her apartments and orders Tyrion to investigate the murder. Tyrion quickly understands the bargain. Tywin will protect his life as long as Tyrion helps destroy Robb. Together they build a far smarter campaign than either man could create alone. Tywin supplies gold, Tyrell infantry, and Roose Bolton's northern intelligence. Tyrion chooses Harrenhal as the anvil, fortifies the roads around the God's Eye, and prepares a disciplined retreat in case Robb refuses to break where expected. Littlefinger escapes King's Landing with Sansa and reaches the Vale before Tywin can prove his role in Joffrey's death. He now holds the one person who can connect the North, Riverlands, and Vale. Tywin offers to confirm him as Lord of Harrenhal if Lysa seals the Bloody Gate and keeps the Vale out of the war. Robb offers nothing directly, but a Stark victory would make Sansa one of the most powerful women in Westeros, and Littlefinger intends to control her future. Lysa ruins his careful balance when she threatens to throw Sansa through the moon door. Littlefinger kills Lysa, but Bronze Yohn Royce refuses to let him quietly rule in Robert Arryn's name. To survive, Littlefinger reveals Sansa to the Vale Lords and claims he rescued Ned Stark's daughter from the Lannisters. Sansa confirms only the rescue, because she still needs his protection. The Vale finally calls its banners, officially to reunite Sansa with Robb and defend House Tully. Secretly, Littlefinger sends Tywin the route the Knights will take, and sends Robb the location of Tywin's supply train. He wants both armies bloodied at Harrenhal, leaving himself as guardian of the young Lord of the Vale and the man who controls the only bridge between the survivors. Robb wants to march north, but Roose Bolton now holds Harrenhal for the crown and threatens every road behind him. Leaving that army untouched would trap the Riverlands between Bolton raiders and the Freys. Robb gathers the Tully levies, the loyal Freys, and his full northern host for one decisive attack. The Blackfish warns that Tywin is inviting them toward Harrenhal, but Littlefinger's information about the Lannister supply train is too valuable to ignore. Robb plans to seize the wagons, starve the castle, and leave before the main Tyrell army arrives. Tyrion has predicted exactly that. The wagons are lightly guarded because they are bait. Tyrell spearmen wait in woods east of the road, Lannister cavalry hides behind low ridges, and Roose Bolton is ordered to attack Robb from the rear once the Starks commit. Tyrion even places sealed pots of wildfire along the narrow causeway, not enough to destroy an army, but enough to split one at the perfect moment. Littlefinger believes he has arranged a mutual slaughter. What he does not know is that Sansa found the second set of ravens in his chambers. She gives them to Bronze Yohn, who changes the Vale's route without telling Littlefinger and rides for Harrenhal through the night. Robb's outriders capture the first wagons and Tywin closes the trap. Tyrell spears strike the Tully flank while Lannister horse blocks the western road. Then the wildfire erupts across the causeway, separating Robb from part of his infantry. Roose Bolton lowers the Stark banner and charges Robb's rear, certain the battle is already won. This is the moment Jaime's execution changes everything. The Karstark cavalry should have abandoned Robb months ago. Instead, Rickard Karstark wheels 3,000 riders into Bolton's exposed flank. Greatjon Umber smashes through the centre, and Robb reaches Roose before he can escape. Rickard kills the man who sold the north with a spear thrust beneath his arm. Tywin still has the larger army, and Tyrion begins tightening the circle until Vale horns sound from the wrong direction. Bronze Yohn ignored Littlefinger's route and brings the knights down on the Lannister rear. Sansa rides beneath the falcon banners so every northern soldier can see that another Stark has returned. Tywin orders a retreat before the Vale can close the road to King's Landing. Tyrion's prepared rearguard prevents a rout, saving thousands of Lannister and Tyrell soldiers. Robb wins the field, but the Lion's army escapes intact. the victory changes the map without ending the war. Robb captures Harrenhal, restores the River Lords, and exposes the letters proving Littlefinger promised the same battle to both sides. Bronze Jon arrests him before he can return to the Eyrie. Sansa chooses to send Littlefinger to the Wall rather than execute him, stripping him of every title and forcing him to live where none of his gold or secrets matter. Robb then turns north with the Karstarks, Umbers, and much of the Vale host. The Ironborn at Moat Cailin face an army far larger than the one Robb could have assembled in the original timeline, while Bolton Rule collapses before it can begin. In King's Landing, Tywin cannot hide what happened. Tyrion saved the retreat, preserved the Tyrell alliance, and prevented the Crown from losing its entire field army. Tywin restores him as Hand and makes his inheritance public before the court. Cersei responds by arranging an attack on Tyrion inside the Red Keep. Varys exposes the killers, and Tywin finally removes her from power, sending her under guard to Casterly Rock. Tyrion does not celebrate. He realises he has survived long enough to become exactly what Tywin needed, a colder, more careful Lannister who can sacrifice pride before it destroys the family. By the next spring, Robb has retaken Moat Cailin and returned to Winterfell. The Frees obey because their heirs remain northern hostages, the Karstarks are still his strongest cavalry, and the Vale recognises the northern Riverlands as one allied kingdom. Sansa stays in the Eyrie beside Robb at Arryn, giving Robb a loyal road south without surrendering the Vale to Littlefinger. But Robb cannot march on King's Landing. The Tyrells still feed the capital, Tommen still wears the crown, and Tyrion has rebuilt the defences around every road Tywin lost. Tywin cannot conquer the north either. His best agent in ruse is dead. The twins are watched, and every easy path across the Riverlands now belongs to Robb. Tyrion proposes a prisoner exchange and a winter truce. Tywin signs it without recognising northern independence, while Robb accepts without bending the knee. Jaime's execution did not destroy House Lannister. It removed Tywin's favourite son and forced him to build the future around the son he hated. It also kept Robb's most dangerous allies from turning against him. Westeros is left divided between a more united wolf and a smarter lion, and both kingdoms begin preparing for the war that will start when the truce ends. If you're interested in The Lord of the Rings or A Song of Ice and Fire, click one of the links on the screen to dive deeper into the lore. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you next time.